Welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs.
We have to fix our refineries.
Politics. It's interactive.
You can imagine if states, the federal government and state government say, okay, all the vehicles we're going to use all should come from a nursing or any other local manufacturer of automobiles in Nigeria.
If a woman cannot build the family or her family, how can she build a nation? So it starts with the family.
Well, if you talk of employment, unemployment in Nigeria is one of the indicators of socio-economic problems that we're having in the country. Let me just say it from 1960 to date.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Oh, good morning and welcome to National Discourse this beautiful day. And of course, I have with me in the studio Honorable Mike Omogbehi, the Honorable Member representing Okitipupa Federal Constituency on the state. I hope I didn't murder your name, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir, to this program.
Federal Constituency.
Okay, thank you very much for the correction there. So today we know that there was a press release, a press statement, decided to call it an open letter that our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, wrote to our current president, Muhammadu Buhari, addressing some salient issues about his administration, and more importantly, warning him not to contest, or rather, advising him not to contest for general elections of next year. That is what we're discussing today, Obasanjo's The Way Out. Of course, that is what he titled that little later. I will call it little later, but it has so many things that are very big inside of it. So we'll go for a short break, and when we get back, we'll move straight trying to analyze this later. If our former president has the locus to write this letter or give this advice or piece of advice rather to our current president, who will find out when we get back to the break. I still remain your host, Uche Uduma. Please stay with us. Welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs.
We have to fix our refineries.
Politics. It's interactive.
You can imagine if states, the federal government and state government say, okay, all the vehicles we're going to use all should come from a nursing or any other local manufacturer of automobiles in Nigeria.
If a woman cannot build the family or her family, how can she build a nation? So it starts with the family.
Well, if you talk of employment, unemployment in Nigeria is one of the indicators of socio-economic problems that we're having in the country. Let me just say it from 1960 to date.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
All right, welcome back from that short break. So straight away, sir, The Way Out, which he said is a clarion call for coalition for Nigerian movement. I don't know. How do you see it? What is your opinion about it?
My opinion about the supposed letter written by the former president. I said, as a Nigerian, he has the legitimate right to write to anybody for that matter. He also has better legitimacy to write to a man who is presently occupying the seat, the position he had once occupied, or he had been privileged twice, one as a military head of state, and then as a democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Sir. I think he has a right. As if you ask for my opinion, yes, sir. I look at the letter from two angles. One, as a member of the opposition political party, and I see it from the other angle of a Nigerian, a father who is thinking about the future of my children and the generations. Let me take it first from the angle of an opposition. I would say that the APC, vis-a-vis the federal government today, should take the message and the letter from General Obasanjo just as the took the letter when General Obasanjo wrote wrote to Jonathan, wrote the way PDP took the issue. APC must also be happy to receive it the way they received it that time. That letter was celebrated then. That is number one. Number two, they must also find time, which I believe they have done, to articulate their positions and reply to what General Obasanjo had said, either as government or as political party, so that Nigerians out there will be able to judge their response, compare their response with the response of Jonathan at that time. So this is my position as an opposition. Now, having said that, the other position is as a Nigerian, a patriotic Nigerian. I will say we have received one letter too much from General Obasanjo, and we need to take a look. Nigerians must begin to take their destiny in their hands. The younger generations must begin to take their destinies in their hand. We must not allow this country to be continually moderated by a league of retired generals. That is my position. The position of Obasanjo cannot be restricted to Obasanjo's alone. I see him every time he writes a letter to be the positions of the leagues of the retired generals. They have refused to leave the politics alone, even when they've been out of office. That is the angle I look at it. We've received so many of such letters. What have been the impact of the previous letter?
Yes, sir.
All right? I think as we progress, I will begin to...
Yes, sir. That's exactly where I actually want to draw you to. Now, I believe you were still a member of PDP then when he wrote to the former president, Jonathan. Now, that letter that he wrote, what has been the efficacy of that letter? How did it work out?
That's exactly what I'm telling you about. This is not the first time. This is about the third time General Obasanjo will write a letter to an incumbent. You remember, after General Obasanjo left the office, he was instrumental to the election of Yaradua. And a few years, even when it was glaring then that Yaradua was very, very sick, at one of the points when we were campaigning, you know, he had to call Yaradua from hospital and ask that famous word, Umaru, are you dead? And something like that. Yet Nigerians voted. He gave us Yaradua. We voted for Yaradua massively. And so about 1 or 2 years into that election, the man fell sick. Everyone is entitled, can be sick. Yes, you know, and what did we get? It's letter. A pronouncement from Obasanjo who said, it is one thing for me to get a job for a man, it's another thing for the man to have competence to do the job. That was the first thing Obasanjo did for us, did in our democratic journey. Thereafter, Jonathan took over. General Obasanjo was also instrumental, to the assumption of office of Jonathan. I believe that he must have done his due diligence. He must have also evaluated them very well. He gave us Jonathan. Few years into Jonathan, Obasanjo started writing letters again, the same way he has written this one, questioning Jonathan's and the rest. My question is that for how long are we going to continue
keep on
writing? For how long are we going to continue to have letters written by the same man who is actually instrumental to the emergence of all these people? It is no hidden fact that Obasanjo was also highly instrumental. I can see vividly the picture of Buhari and his team visiting Obasanjo, and Obasanjo, endorsing him then. Just 2.5 years into, he's writing another letter. And that is where I say Nigerians should begin to be wary of these letters. We must not allow anybody, particularly what I refer to the leagues of retired generals, to dictate for us anymore. I am not saying that the president has done very well. He has not done well, just like Obasanjo too was not satisfied with other people. Yes, if he had given PDP chance again for Jonathan to do second time, perhaps we would have not found ourselves in the situation we found ourselves now. He was not patient then, all right? And that is what led us to this. Yes, now he's profiling solution now and then for problems that he has contributed in creating. And that is why I am warning Nigerians that we should be wary. We want to change this president, but we must not allow anybody to dictate to us who we must put in place, who we must replace Buhari with.
There has been this trait of godfatherism having played out from the side of Olusegun Obasanjo. Don't you think he wants to continue the trait? He was instrumental to bring in Yaradua. He was instrumental to bring in Jonathan. He was instrumental to bring in Buhari. And now, all of them, it has been characterized with open letter, writing open letter to them, pointing out one or two things. Now, don't you think, I don't know, if Nigerians are weary of godfatherism, how can we cut this link?
You see, we'll be making a very serious mistake. To want to restrict this issue of godfatherism to say Obasanjo as a godfather, no.
Okay.
Obasanjo is a face of a group of people. That is what I'm pointing at. Baba is a face, it's just a face of the group. The voice we've just heard from Abeokuta, if you go to Mina, you are most likely, I'm 80% sure that is the very voice you will hear.
Yes,
if you go to Ukari, it's most likely that is the voice you will hear. If you go to somewhere in Kaduna, it's most likely that is the voice you will hear. Most of the times, Obasanjo articulates these positions. They are positions of a league. That is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And that we, younger generations and fathers of today, must begin to get prepared, to cut ourselves off from these people. That is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm not saying the content of the letter is wrong.
Okay.
That is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying each time this league contributes to our problem,
yes,
and then they will come back to provide solutions.
Okay.
3 times they have done that. 3 times they have failed. Isn't it high time for us to begin to get
break away,
ourselves
regardless the party we all belong
the party
to.
does not. I am of the PDP. Will be presenting candidate. I'm going to campaign for my candidate. But I will not want a situation where somebody creates a problem and want to come and dictate for me who again to pick as my presidential candidate. That is what I'm saying.
Because that is where it's spending.
All political parties must begin to call themselves away from this. I hate to use the word cover. That is why I call them League of Retired Generals. That is what they are. They believe that they are members of a board who owns this country. We must begin to tell them, no, nobody owns this country. Collectively, we own Nigeria.
Okay.
That is my position on this issue.
Okay.
And so people should stop seeing themselves as chairmen of board of Nigerian PLC.
Okay.
They should stop seeing themselves as executive directors of Nigerian PLC. That is what I am saying. Nigerians must be worried. The younger generations must be worried. Politicians, my friends and colleagues, must be careful that in the next journey, we must pick our candidates. We must pick whoever we want to present for election wisely, and not somebody somewhere hidden in Abeokuta, in Mina, or Wukari, dictating for us. It's been on since 1999.
Okay. Now, I quickly want us to go through the content of the letter. We have 15 salient points, and I wanted to analyze them one after the other. The first one says, Obasanjo acknowledged he knew that President Buhari is weak in the knowledge and understanding of the economy. All right? He added, although I know that you cannot give what you don't have, and that economy does not obey military order, you have to give it what it takes in short, medium, and long term. That is the first point.
He knew this.
He knew.
Yet he supported him.
Yes, sir.
Now, give me the reason why we should not take this letter seriously. Give me the reason why we should continue to support him to prescribe solution for this problem. That's the more better reason why I'm saying Nigerian. Now, he knew this, yet he sold Buhari to us. He knew that they were not going to use decree, he was not going to use order to push the economic policies. I read somewhere here, he said that he thought that Buhari was going to surround himself
with well-meaning Nigerians.
It's very ridiculous. There is a saying, if you have a lion leading 20 ships, all right, the 20 ships are lion, but you have 20 lions being led by one ship. The 20 lions are sheep. Why would Obasanjo expect that though Buhari is economically weak in the knowledge of economy, but he was going to surround himself? So he was just, it's clear to us that Obasanjo was just not convenient with the PDP government at that time, and he wanted a change at all costs. We must not allow him to want it. We must not allow him, though we are yearning for a change, a better change this time, but we must not allow this league to give us another precedent. That is my point. We must not allow it. Nigerians must take our destiny in our hand.
Okay, sir. Now, for 2.5 years now, we're moving to the third year in this present administration. Has Obasanjo clearly played any adversary role to this current administration?
I'm not in the executive arm of government.
Okay.
But I know that he has done more harm to the legislative arm of government, accusing us at a little opportunity. He has written us a letter before now, and people were celebrating it. He called us all sorts of names. I am a first-timer in the National Assembly, but the stories I met are not palatable at all. Starting from his own administrations, and it is wrong sometimes when you created an atmosphere for people to operate in a very wrong manner, and then you turn around to give them, to label them. Even after all we have been doing to actually sanitize the system, to put a legislative arm in place, Obasanjo still give us name, and people celebrate it. So I am not in the executive arm of government. I don't know whether he has been contributing.
But from your own angle.
But from our angle, he has done more harm to us than.
Okay. Now, that leads us to the second point. He said President Buhari is weak in understanding and playing in the foreign affairs sector. That's heavy.
Again, this boils down to my first position. Now, Buhari was not good in the economic sector. Buhari is also not good in foreign policy. All right? Yet, Baba went ahead to foster Buhari on us. All right? What was his aim? What was he targeting? What were his expectations when he did that? It's glaring. What were his expectations when Baba said we should support Buhari, and that he looked around and he thought Buhari was the best? Even within APC then, I thought they would have given us a better candidate to slug it out with Jonathan. But they thought that Buhari was the best candidate who can give them the result they wanted.
The change.
Here we are. Change is desirable, but it must be positive. The change Obasanjo brought to us is negative. You know, he contributed immensely to this problem. So I am afraid we can't continue to have this league of people as part of the solution. They cannot give us solution. We must beginning to look out for solutions within ourselves. Elsewhere.
Okay. Now, we have PDP, we have APC. Of course, we have other parties, but technically, we discovered that Nigeria is currently running a two-party system. The two major parties, you know, on paper, we are running democracy and we are running multiple party system. But right now, technically, like I said, we just have the APC and the PDP are the major, you know, parties we have in Nigeria. Now, do you see him, you know, going to form another party to probably come out to contest, you know, against APC and PDP in the forthcoming election?
Well, I'm sure he's a retired general, a politician of good standing. In his mind, he knows that the time between now and the next election is too short for him to put anything there. But let me correct an impression. Yet, in the physical, we have technically two political parties. But I tell you, as a politician and someone who has been involved in this game, I know that we have three political parties. We have PDP, we have APC, and we have the moderators of these two parties. I mean, they are the better, that is a party that is not known to most Nigerians. They are there, they are the hidden hands.
They are not seen.
They are not, they are the one moderating the activities in these two parties. And these are the people I am saying we must break away from. Whether you are a member of PDP or you are a member of APC, this third unseen hand, this third unseen hand are the one who manipulate activities, who moderate activities in PDP and APC. They decide who will be the candidate and who will do what not. We must not allow this to continue if we want to survive as a nation, if we want to grow as a nation. Again, you look at it. If you say PDP, APC, over time, ideological stagnation. We are stagnated ideologically. It's not growing. We are not evolving ideology. I mean, there's no hardly difference between PDP and APC. It was those who were involved, majority of those who were involved in PDP government are also in APC today. Tomorrow they will be in PDP. And that is why we are where we are.
So you're just having
at the time we were talking about change. We were talking about the change via party. Party does not make men mix party. All right? It is the human beings in political party that determines the activities that happen in parties. All right? But what Nigerians seems to be looking for is that there will be one sudden party that will solve our problem. No, because that party will be constituted by Nigerians, by human beings. And there is no special university or institutions where politicians are trained. It is from the society. And if you look around today, it's still the same. Those of us who have been involved in politics since 1999 and 2003, who are still there with little people joining here and there. Are you getting what I'm talking about?
Sir.
So we must begin to evolve ideology, either to the left or to the right. But as it is today, there is no clear-cut ideology. And once we don't have ideology, we cannot grow politically, we cannot grow economically. If, for example, the Republicans are in government in America, you will know that this is the possible directions. And then when the Democrats are in government, this is the possible directions. All right? Businessmen can settle down to make projections into the future, knowing the ideology pattern. But we don't have that. And rather than continue to write letters, rather than continue to moderate these issues from there, I think what they should do is to let Nigerians evolve into a political ideology here, left and right, where we can pursue our economic growth.
Okay, sir. Now, according to Nigerian legal system, the legal system of Nigerian, gives a leverage for politicians to cross carpet to other parties. Now, you're talking about a person having a different ideology, not the party. Now, what we have seen play out since this present administration came up, some members of PDP, they crossed over to APC. But we still know that it's still the same humans that were there. You made mention of the individual himself and not the party. Now, is it possible that we have a law in our legal system that can stop people from crossing over to other party? Because it's still the same persons here that would cross over and constitute, the policy or policies of the other party.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I'll try to just explain my understanding of this. As a Nigerian, you have the fundamental human right to associate where you want to associate, and political parties all over the world, free entry, free exit. All right, but again, I know that there are legal provisions,
yes, sir,
restrictions, particularly for those of us as legislators, that if you are elected under a political platform, yes, there have been a Supreme Court pronouncement as regards this, that you are not expected, you are not legally authorized to move while you are still carrying the mandate of that party to another party. But unfortunately, what do we have today? APC, who is the ruling, that is in the ruling government, the ruling party, yes, sir, tolerates this. But everything.
Sorry, sir, I think there's a clause to that, except where there is fight.
No, they said except where there is a division, where there are two party, where one party has factions, that factionalize. That is the division.
That's the proper division.
That is the division, division, where you have two chairmans and the rest. Take, for example, like what was planted in PDP, yes, the other time when we had Ahmadu Sharif, we had McAfee, all right, which I believe was deliberately done by the party government, we cannot go into that detail, yes, now, sir, to create an avenue for people
to live.
But as at today, you cannot say the same things still exist in PDP. We are now unified. We have a chairman. Secondus is our chairman. So why are
people still cross?
But yet, this government, the APC government, still find succor, still find joy in receiving people contrary to the legal provisions, to the provision of the law. They hide behind one finger. They hide under some provisions of the law and whatnot. It is very sad. But again, the fundamental human right, everybody is entitled to move, is entitled to associate where he wants to associate. But I think it is killing. It is not allowing ideology to evolve, where I can run from my party to another party, I can run back at will. It is not desirable for growth.
Okay, sir, I would want to move into the number 3. He said he asked Buhari to stop condoning corruption among some inner caucus of the presidency, culture of condonation and turning blind eye, who cover up rather than clean up, and going to justice must be with clean hands, Obasanjo urged the president.
He has a point, very serious point there.
Very serious point.
Very serious point there. Okay. We must give that to Chief Obasanjo.
Yes, sir.
He has a very serious point there because when Buhari came, one of the reasons they gave to us was that he was coming to sanitize the system. He was coming to fight corruption. He was coming. But what we have seen today, I think for me, from the little knowledge and this, there have been more glaring corruption in the presidency than we had in the previous administration. There are so many revealing issues that are there in the public place. All right, we had the one of the secretary to the federal government. We have recently some in NNPC and what have you. Recently, we have the NIA saga and what have you. So I think Baba is very, very right in that context. He's very, very, very right.
Okay, sir, I wouldn't want to waste time on that. I want to go to number 4. He acknowledged President Buhari's achievement in the fight against insurgency, although it is not yet thorough. Where are we? Where can we categorize ourselves?
I disagree with him in that credit. There's no credit. What we have gained forever, for example, from whatever has happened, taking over of Sambisa forest, all right, we have lost in the Fulani headsmen taking over the whole of the land. For me, it's like they have moved from Sambisa and have taken over all the lands, all the places. For me, it's like the ammunitions that were used in Sangfisa forest used by Boko Haram are what is going around here today. So I disagree with General Obasanjo to say that he has actually countered terrorism. We have more of terror on the loose than when we had it compartmentalized at the northeast. Now we have terrorism everywhere. We have in southwest, we have in northeast, we have in southeast, we have everywhere. So Buhari has failed as far as fighting of terrorism is concerned. So I disagree with General Obasanjo on that note.
All right, sir. And number 5 said he accused the Buhari-led federal government of unwittingly allowing the herdsmen/crop farmers crisis to turn sour and messy. He said, it is no credit to the federal government that the herdsmen rampage continues with careless abandon and without finding an effective solution.
You see, now this counters the first positions. Unless, of course, we continue to hide behind one figure, not wanting to tag the Fulani herdsmen as terrorists.
Yes, sir.
And that's the only way you can justify this. I mean, terrorism is terrorism. It does not matter. So that's why I said that I do not agree with him in the first aspect to say that he has fought terrorism. Because what we have now is even more dangerous than when we have them in one angle where we can locate them. They are now everywhere. So in this one, I also agree with him with this. But I mean, this also counters the earlier point that he gave him credit for fighting terrorism. So I mean, where are we? We are back to square one.
All right, we'll be going for a short break, and when we get back, we continue from point number 6. Please stay with us. Welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs,
We have to fix our refineries.
politics, it's interactive.
You can imagine if states, the federal government and state government, say, okay, all the vehicles we're going to use all should come from a Nosin or any other local manufacturer of automobiles in Nigeria.
If a woman cannot build the family or her family, how can she build a nation? So it starts with the family.
Well, if you talk of unemployment in Nigeria is one of the indicators of socio-economic problems that we're having in the country. Let me just say it from 1960 to date.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Number? What's the target?
15.
Oh, no.
All right, you're welcome back from that break. We are going to point number 6, and I quickly read it. He accused some governors who endorsed President Buhari for a second term, a day after 73 victims of herdsmen attacks were being buried in a mass grave in Benue State without condolence, of being insensitive and callous.
Well, I sympathize with the people of Benue State, and I think the president did not do well in not actually visiting Benue up to now. I'm not aware that he has visited Benue, and that is very sad. It's not expected from a statesman to do. But again, just like Obasanjo endorsed Buhari in 2015, the governors are politicians. They also reserve the right to endorse whoever they want to endorse.
Regardless what the situation of the country was in.
Let me tell you, sometimes some things can be morally wrong and politically right. I'm not going to sit down here and judge everybody. It is not it is the responsibility of Mr. President to want to receive them or not to want to receive them. All right?
At a point like that.
I mean, it is his responsibility to say, no, I don't want to receive you on this, or I don't want to make this visit public. The buck stops on his desk. And so Obasanjo should blame Buhari and not blame the governors. The governors are playing politics. They are politicians, for crying out loud. They are playing politics. And it's very sad. Nigerians should watch. I'm not going to sit down here and begin to apportion blame to those that I do not. They are not my governor. Governors of my state. My governor was not part of it. All right? But my president was part of it. He shouldn't have done that. I mean, are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes,
if you ask the governors that, they will tell you, I mean, what is...
It's politics.
It's politics. Just like Obasanjo too played politics. Just like every other people play politics the other time. But it's sad that it could be done at the expense...
At that moment.
Against Nigerians. But we should hold Mr. President solely responsible for allowing such a thing. And we should also not lose the eye on the fact that up to this moment, he has not deemed it necessary to visit Benue.
Okay, sir, but I want us to look at it again. Now, if Mr. President received people coming into his office or his home to visit him, let us remember again that he might not be in their mind to know what they are coming for. So at what point were you expecting him to have stopped their movement?
I am involved in politics. I have been involved in government for a while, and I know the workings of government. There is no way. Absolutely no
So
way.
he is under no.
At least he has control over his media office.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
What to dish out and what not to dish out. All right? At a particular point. I think it was just an inhuman way. I don't care attitude. And the way this government has treated with levity the Fulani herdsmen issue. That is just
Okay.
the way I see it.
All right. I would want to skip 7 and then go to 8. He also accused President Buhari of nepotic deployment bordering on clashiness and inability to bring discipline to bear on errant members of his nepotic court, with special reference to Menagate.
Well, you're talking about nepotism. That is the second name of Buhari's administration. From day one, he has shown very clearly that he's nepotic in his appointments.
Okay.
Take, for example, I, for example, was expecting that the Secretary of the Federal Government would have been picked from the southeastern part of Nigeria. Haven't picked the Vice President and the President from the North. Today we have the Senate President from the North. We have the Speaker from the North. We have virtually all the security chiefs from the North. So nepotism in Buhari's appointment has been tilted from day one up to this present. So again, I agree with General Obasanjo on that note. He hit the nail on the head.
Okay, sir. Let's go to 11. He advised President Buhari not to overpush his luck or overtax the patience and tolerance of Nigerians.
Well, Buhari is a human being. If they gave him the avenue to push his luck in 2014, 2015, I mean, he's also a human being, just like Obasanjo, just like we learned some people dreamt to have third term some times ago. So we are just appealing to Buhari to please, go and retire, and let's say APC and PDP give us young brains, young hands who are going to contest and to lead this country. But again, Buhari is a human being. Buhari is surrounded by human beings who want to work on sentiments, on his emotions, who want to tell him that you are the best, you're right, until it will be glaring to him that he's not. But I want to join Obasanjo to appeal to Buhari to please step down. It is honorable to do so now than allowing Nigerians to kick him out. And he should not stay under any illusion, thinking that the elections of 2019 could be rigged. Let nobody stay under any illusion to think that what PDP or other political party accepted, what happened in Kano in 2015 will also be tolerated to happen anywhere in Nigeria. So we want to plead with him. I joined Obasanjo in pleading with him to step down honorably now. But again, I concede to the fact that he has the fundamental human right to contest.
Okay. Now, that takes us to point number 13. He said the opposition party has shown no better promise from their antecedents. As the leader of the party for 8 years as president of Nigeria, I can categorically say there is nothing to write home about in their new team.
He contributed to it.
Okay.
General Obasanjo contributed to whatever he is talking about against the PDP. He contributed to it. But I want to reassure him that we have done a better job since he left. All right, in building leadership and to entrusting more discipline in this party. What we have eschewed, however, is the dictatorial tendencies that were characteristics of his leadership when he was there. We have tried to move away from such attitude, to democratize the party, but he contributed to the weakness of the party.
Okay. Now, number 14 said he canvassed for the creation of a coalition of Nigeria CN movement, which will consist of people who are concerned and unwillingly ready for positive and drastic change, progress and involvement that will give hope and future to all our youth and dignity and full participation to all our women.
That is the recommendation I'm calling Nigerians to reject, vehemently so. Nigerians must come out and reject these propositions from Obasanjo, all right? We have political parties in place. Let whoever is interested to change the government of today join political parties. We don't want further unseen hands that have been manipulating us. That is particular recommendation that I said we must resist. We must not allow these leagues of retired generals. That is the position they have always been occupying in manipulating the political system in the issue in the name of movement. No movement. We've seen movement in 2003, we've seen movement 2007, we've seen movement 2015. Here we are. We cannot continue in any unseen movement, in any unseen hands, manipulating the political system. If you want to join this they want to change the system, join a political party. Obasanjo should come out from retirement if that is what he wants to do, and come back to PDP or come out plainly under APC, where he can be elected as a delegate to vote for somebody, and not you calling on people to destabilize the political system. That is my own opinion. Nigerians must resist that call. We don't want any movement that is not based on political ideology, on political party.
Okay, sir. Before we're going for a short break, we'll come back and continue where we'll wrap up on this segment. Please stay with us. Welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs,
We have to fix our refineries.
politics, it's interactive.
You can imagine if states, the federal government and state government, say, okay, all the vehicles we're going to use, all should come from Innocent or any other local manufacturer of automobiles in Nigeria.
If a woman cannot build the family or her family, how can she build a nation? So it starts with the family.
Well, if you talk of employment, unemployment in Nigeria is one of the indicators of socio-economic problems that we're having in the country. Let me just say it from 1960 to date.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Okay, you're welcome back from that short break. Just for us to wrap up, we are looking at point number 15, where he said he challenged Nigerians to do the extraordinary things of changing the course and direction of our luxury performance and development as a nation. Sir,
What is he expecting Nigerians to do?
I really do not know.
So he wants us to do what? Nigerians do not even have the luxury of acquiring luxuries anymore. The resources are not there. So what is he talking about? The economic situation does not even permit anybody living a luxurious life anymore. All right? Even if you want to live big, you can no longer live big. The system has limited Nigerians from doing that. The government of the day have not actually, virtually, the middle level is being totally phased out. So that advice has been taken care of by the economic situations of Nigeria itself. So, I mean, where do we go from here? We have moved further the precipice in the last 2.5 years than we were in 2015. So this advice by Baba good, but the advice has been taken care by the economic situation in Nigeria today. How many of things do we still import? Where is the foreign exchange to import anything? What is the foreign lifestyle we are still exhibiting? So that has been taken care of.
So in a whole of this analysis of these 15 points, what could you tell Nigerians as we wrap up? Where are we standing right now?
Well,
and what is the way forward?
my wrap up to Nigerians is this, that we have moved further into the ditch than we were in 2015. This is the truth. Nigeria has become more unsafe than we were in 2015. The value of the naira has been drastically reduced than it was in 2015. Shortage of food than it was in 2015. Our roads are getting worse. The aviation industry is not doing better than they are doing. Virtually everything is not doing that. Divisions along ethnicity has gotten worse in Nigeria than it was in 2015. Okay. We must quickly, just like I started, we must quickly begin to sit down to take our destinies in our hands. And I call on APC, I call on the federal government to please, at least if they cannot take us further, they should please return us to the position we were in 2015. Okay. All right? Because this government today has taken us deeper into the abyss than we were in 2015. And my message is to Nigerians is that go and get your PVC ready. Exactly. Go and get your PVC ready. It does not matter. Look at the party. Look at the PDP. Look at the APC. Depending on the candidates they present to you, vote accordingly. Vote according to your conscience. This APC government, as led by General Buhari, has disappointed us, and I sincerely pray that there is no way Nigerians will agree for him to be re-elected in 2019.
Thank you very much for coming on our show today. Thank you very much, Honorable Mike. And to Nigerians, it's not just for us to sit at home and blame everybody and do this blame game all, whether this government or the past government, or, of course, our ex-president that have been writing open letters. It's for us, I just want to reiterate what Honorable Mike have said. Let us go and grab our vote cards, for us to get ready for 2019 general elections. If you want a change of government, you want a change of purpose, you want ideological change in our politics today, then we have to do the needful as Nigerians. Remember, your vote is your right. And that's a wrap up for me this morning on National Discourse. See you same time tomorrow for another exciting edition. Please stay with us. Welcome to National Discourse. Fuel scarcity has been a problem in Nigeria from time immemorial.
Current affairs,
We have to fix our refineries.
politics. It's interactive.
You can imagine if states, the federal government and state government, say, okay, all the vehicles we're going to use all should come from in Nosin or any other local manufacturer of automobiles in Nigeria.
If a woman cannot build the family or her family, how can she build a nation? So it starts with the family.
Well, if you talk of employment, unemployment in Nigeria is one of the indicators of socio-economic problems that we're having in the country. Let me just say it from 1960 to date.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.